can't believe I'm about to do this. I mean, we're a few weeks into all this, and I think this has been hard for all of us. I'm like about to cry. Well, get it together, Matt. Get it together. Okay. It's been a few weeks, and I think those few weeks have been hard for all of us in different ways. We miss the things that we're used to having. Like the other day, I caught myself sitting in a lounge chair in my backyard, cheering on my dog Finn as he chased squirrels. Yes, I did boo those squirrels. I also did have a chant for Finn. And then another day, I was watching a leaf fall either from my tree in my front yard or off my house, and just watched it fall. And it made me think of the Red Wings and how it was always great to see them beat the Leafs. Not recently, of course, but I mean just over time. And my daughter, one of her favorite words right now is ball. She says it all the time. And all it does is it makes me think of soccer ball, baseball, which that was supposed to start a few weeks ago. And you might be like, Matt, it's gonna be okay. And while you may be right, I do miss sports. I just keep going to ESPN.com and I keep clicking refresh, wanting for something to pop up. Yes, I've watched highlights, but I know what happens. I miss sports.
What is up, 242 students online? My name is Eda and I'm so glad you're here hanging out with us. If you are new to 242 students online, we have a next steps card we'd love for you to fill. Tell us your name, give us a little information about yourself. We'll get you plugged into an online small group. What's happening here is a really small part of 242 students. So we want you to come on in and get comfortable, find a community. We'd love to have you be part of us. So I have these two stories that I want to tell you guys that I heard pretty recently. And one of them is of a 6th grader called Carly. So Carly's parents both work at the hospital. And so she decided to make scrub caps for the nurses and the tech team at the hospital. That's where her parents work. And so this girl didn't make 1 or 2 or 10. She made 65 scrub caps. Like, this girl just blew me away. And she was telling me like so chill, like, yeah, this is what I do, you know? And then I heard another story of some 12th grade girls whose leaders are both nurses. And so they gave them this opportunity to make little coasters to put in the tea room or the snack room for the nurses. And the coasters have Bible verses on them and just encouragement. Like, we love you guys. If any of you have parents in the medical field, just give them a big hug for us if you're still allowed to. But yeah, I don't know how these stories inspire you to do some kingdom work at this time and just love on the people in our community as we're all going through this craziness that is COVID-19. Well, right now we're gonna worship together, and I just want to invite you guys to stand up wherever you are. I know it's kind of strange to stand up and worship to a screen, but God is still awesome and He will still receive this worship smiling because He loves us. So get up and worship with us right now.
Hey 242 students, so glad that you're joining us today. Let's stand on up and worship.
I was buried beneath my shame. Who could carry that kind of weight? It was my tomb till I met you. I was breathing but not to hide. It was my turn till I met you. You called my name and I ran out of that grave, out of the darkness into your glorious day. You called my name and I ran out of that grave, out of the darkness into your glorious day. Now your mercy has saved my soul, and your freedom is all that I know. The old made new, Jesus, when I met you, you called my name and I ran out of that grave, out of the darkness into your glorious day. You called my name and I ran out of that grave, out of the darkness into your glorious day. I needed rescue, my sin was heavy, the chains break at the weight of your glory. I needed shelter, I was an orphan, you called me a sister of heaven. When I was broken, you were my healing. Now your love is the air I'm breathing. I have a future, my eyes are open. That's when you call my name. I ran out of that grave, out of the darkness into your glorious day. You called my name and I ran out of that grave, out of the darkness into your glorious day.
Hey everyone, I'm Matt. I'm our Lansing Students Pastor. I'm here with some of our friends across all our campuses. Let them just introduce themselves to you. First, we got Morgan.
Hey guys, I'm Morgan Simpson. I go to the Brighton campus and I also go to Brighton High School. And during quarantine, I have definitely been watching a lot of Grey's Anatomy.
Okay. Interesting. Next, we got Claire.
Hi, I'm Claire. I'm from the Livonia campus, and I'm a sophomore at PSEP right now. And I've been actually binge watching Stranger Things again. I'm on the first season, so.
So, which of the 3 high schools at Plymouth Canton do you go to?
I go to Plymouth, but I really go to all of them, so.
There we go. So, fun fact: graduated Plymouth High School 2009. Go
Really?
Wildcats! Yep.
Oh my gosh.
We also got Anna here.
Hi, I'm Anna. I'm from the Taylor campus, and I do online school because I think regular school is a waste of time. But I've been watching this show called The Stranger on Netflix.
Cool. I don't know anything about it, so I have no commentary on it.
Really, you
That's
should
good.
watch it.
Okay. And last, we got Josh.
Hey guys, I'm Josh. I'm from the Ann Arbor, Canton area campus, and I've been watching Once Upon a Time right now. It's really good. So yeah,
Okay.
that and Criminal Minds.
That and Criminal Minds. Okay. That's a very unique combination. So, hey, we're just going to have a conversation about faith and what it means to us during this time. So let me first ask you guys this question. When you think of when you hear the word faith, what comes to mind for you?
All right, I feel like when I hear the word faith, it goes a lot like hand in hand with trust. So I feel like sometimes when I think about it and how people say take the leap of faith, it kind of feels like you're stepping on an invisible bridge because you're basically putting your trust into something that you don't see at all.
Yeah, it's like Onward.
Yeah.
Which hopefully you've seen.
Yeah, I agree with what Claire said when she was talking about how faith is trust, because I think that like faith is trusting that like there's a God out there that's bigger than this world and that's bigger than us, and just like not being able to see him, but yet still trusting that.
Awesome. So let me ask you guys this. So how does having faith or faithfulness look like during this time that we're experiencing in the world? What does having faith or faithfulness look like during this time?
Yeah, I think having faith like during this like hectic, crazy season just looks like trusting that even though everything looks like it's like just going so south in the world around us, like having faith that like God still is on his throne and he's still reigning, and like there's no like unknowns to him and there's no questions, and that like there's like this will end, like there's a perfect plan to like get us through quarantine and get us through corona, and just like having faith in that and not like being all anxious and afraid of like what's happening around us.
Cool. So let me ask you guys this. Who is someone who embodies like faith or faithfulness to you? So obviously Jesus is probably the first name that comes to mind for all of us. Morgan's laughing because it's literally was going to be her answer. But who's someone that is in your life that right now you're like, okay, when I think of a life of faith, think of someone who is just dependent on Jesus. This is someone who I look to. And why did you think of them as an example?
For me, it's my brother Josiah. He's just like really been taking this time to focus on God, and it's really encouraging to see like he's building up his friends who don't like know Christ or have a relationship with him, and he's taking like the faith that he has and trying to spread it to other people to give them like hope during this time that like we can get through it, and it's not going to all be bad. Like there's some good that's going to come out of it.
That's awesome. So for you guys, what is it that, I mean, again, this is an impromptu, you're not prepared, but how have you been trying to maybe take next steps when it comes to your faith and during this season of COVID-19?
When we're in quarantine, I was doing a lot of stuff with like music. I was just working and doing stuff and like going to school. And I was just using that excuse to not have to like sit down and, you know, take like spend time with God, you know, instead of like doing other stuff that I could be doing, you know what I mean? So yeah, it's good to like not be forced to, but almost like realize that you should be doing it, especially at a time like this. So
awesome. Thanks. Thank you guys so much for like being willing to just be a part of this conversation. I'm excited because Misha is going to be continuing this conversation next.
What's up, 242 students? It's your boy Misha coming at you from this weird nook in like an attic part of my house because I've been kind of hanging out here this week, going through some of my old memories now that I have kind of time to do it. And I found a few interesting things. I found this 1992 T-ball trophy that I have. I found like some art projects from when I was a little kid, like elementary school. Found some toys. I think this is the pig from Toy Story. I found my old Bible that is like all tattered that I used to use like in middle school. I got my senior pictures. So just tell me what you want, number 1, 2, or 3. Got some senior pictures from 2003. And then I found a basketball jersey, an old Pistons jersey of Grant Hill that I used to wear all the time. And there's so many memories that just got tossed here that I haven't even looked at in forever. But this jersey really stood out to me because in 2003 when I graduated, just stick with me on the story. There was a really famous diet called the Atkins diet. Actually, it got so popular that by 2004, something like 10% of Americans claimed that they were using the Atkins diet. And I don't blame them, because it was a low carb diet, but you could have like unlimited meat, unlimited bacon, unlimited cheese. The Wikipedia page currently for the Atkins diet says this: there's no good evidence of the diet's effectiveness in achieving a durable weight loss, and it may cause a risk of heart disease. Yeah, people weren't using the Atkins diet to go heavy on the fruits and vegetables. Now, the whole reason I bring that up is because in 2003, the Detroit Pistons had a backup point guard named Chucky Atkins. Same spelling, but no relation to the diet. It just happened to be his last name. And he was the backup point guard. Like, didn't get a lot of playing time. But my buddies and I, we went to a lot of Pistons games my senior year. And one game we went to was against the Celtics, and we hated the Celtics. And the Celtics, so when we went to the game, we got a sheet and we spray painted it. And it said the fat Celtics should go on the Chucky Atkins diet. And we put like donuts on it. It was really silly. But we showed up to the game early. And we showed up to the game as soon as they would let you in, so we could go down close to the floor and watch the players warm up. And so as the players are warming up, we're just like cheering for him, being a little bit silly. And then Chucky Atkins comes out of the tunnel to warm up. And we open up our sign and we start creating a scene. We're like screaming and hollering, and Chucky Atkins probably never even had this happen during a game, let alone during warm-ups. So as he's shooting, he looks over at us and he laughs. And he just basically says, "Hey, just give me a second." After he's done warming up, he walks over to us, and we're so nervous the whole time because we're thinking, what if he actually does give us the time of day? What if he comes and says hi to us or whatever? And then it looked like it was actually happening. And so he's walking towards us, and we don't even know what to say. Our hearts are pounding, and he gives us a high five, because that's how people used to greet each other before coronavirus. And he starts talking to us, asking us about our families and about school and about, do we play basketball? And it was just this like crazy encounter we never thought would have happened. And when he left, we all breathed for the first time in 5 minutes. The reason I bring that up is because during this season where we have to meet online and where we don't get to like socially gather with each other, it could be a season where we stop taking next steps with God. And I don't want that to be true for you. I want you to keep taking next steps with God even during this season. I want you to keep growing during the season. If you look back on the past few weeks, if you go back and watch the videos, we talked about growing in joy. We talked about growing in peace. And this week, I want to talk about how you can, even in this season, continue to grow in faith. Okay? And so I'm going to take my Bible, and we're going to open in my really old tattered Bible to Hebrews chapter 10, because the writer of Hebrews not only gives us some insight as to how we can approach God wherever we're at, but also how we can continue to grow in our faith. This is what it says, Hebrews 10:22. It says, "Let us draw near to God with a sincere heart and full assurance that faith brings." Just like meeting a professional basketball player, sometimes when we approach God for the first time, it can feel a little intimidating. It can be a little awkward. Like, how do I say hi to God? How do I talk to Him for the first time? Like, do I need to do something big, like create a sign to get His attention? And what are my parents going to think if I start following Jesus? Or what are my friends going to think if they find out that I like watched a church service or whatever? And it can be the kind of this awkward, or we're kind of nervous about how to interact with God the first time. And I just love that the writer of Hebrews tells us that we can draw near with a sincere heart and full assurance of the faith, which means you don't need to put on an act. Just show up to God just like you are. You can be you and come to God, and you can have full assurance of the faith, which is to say that you don't have to worry that God's going to reject you or disapprove of you. God loves you, and He wants you to come to Him, and He's going to accept you just as you are. In fact, if you continue reading in this, it even talks about how He wipes away the shame and the guilt. Like He removes every barrier. He wants to remove every barrier that might keep us from wanting to approach Him. So wherever you're at in your faith, just know that you can draw near to God. Okay, so drop down to verse 23, and the writer tells us this. 3 things I think that help us know what it means to grow, or how do we grow in faith, no matter what season, but maybe especially during this season. First one's this. It says, let us hold unswervingly to the hope we profess, for he who promised is faithful. I'm going to set up a little board here, because the first thing the writer wants us to know is that we have to have hope. We have to hold on to hope. Are you holding on to hope in this season? Are you? I mean, what is your hope in? What are you hoping for? I mean, is your hope in Jesus? Is your hope really that God's got this? If it is, hold on to that. Don't lose grip on that, because if you lose grip on hope, your tendency is going to be to stop growing in your faith. So the first thing the writer says is hold on to your hope. And then the next thing, in the next verse, it says, and let us consider how we may spur one another on to love and good deeds. Let us consider how we might spur one another on to action, to love, to good deeds. The writer wants us to know that if we're going to grow in our faith, we've got to do something with it. I mean, think about it. When's the last time you did something with your faith? Was it before this whole coronavirus season? I mean, you might say that you believe in God and you have all this faith, but do your actions show it? I think one of the things that happens in the season is because we're disconnected. Maybe you were on a team and you could show up every week and serve, and now that team's not meeting, and it's easy to slip in acting and wait for someone else to tell us, hey, you need to do this or you need to do this. Maybe during this season, you need to stop backing away from opportunities to serve and love others, and you need to step into it. If your faith is maybe slowed down, maybe it feels stale, look at the way you're acting on your faith. Look at the way you're loving people. Maybe you need a kickstart today. Maybe you need to decide something you need to do today to move in the direction that your faith is leading you. So the first thing is hope. The second thing is action. And the next verse says this. It says, not giving up meeting together as some are in the habit of doing, but encouraging one another, and all the more as you see the day approaching. The third thing the writer wants us to remind us of is the importance of community if our faith is going to grow. It's really difficult to grow if we don't have people gathering together helping us grow, right? I mean, we can't give up gathering together just because of the coronavirus. We need to keep surrounding ourselves with people who are encouraging us to take next steps with God, which means that when you do gather together in small groups, when you gather together midweek, when you FaceTime your friends, be intentional about encouraging each other, not just showing up just to show up. Encourage each other to take next steps with God. We need those people. We need community. In 2003, when I met Chucky Atkins for the first time, it was a crazy moment. But over the course of the season, talking to him got a lot easier. The same is true with God. Sometimes at the beginning, it's a little nerve-wracking, it's a little awkward, but the more we get to know God, the easier it gets to grow in our faith. I remember the first time we showed up to that game, we kind of had hope that Chucky Atkins would talk to us, but we really didn't know. But we had the hope, which moved us to do something about it, to act on that. If we didn't have the hope, we wouldn't have acted. But because we had hope, we acted on it. And I'll tell you this, I would have not done any of that if I hadn't been doing it with my buddies. I would have never approached a basketball player if it wasn't doing it with my friends. That year, we didn't just meet Chucky Atkins. We met Ben Wallace. We met almost all the going to work guys. Eventually, throughout the season, we met almost the entire 2003 Piston team, because as we did this stuff more, we started to get more hope to do more stuff and to do it with more and more people. Here's the deal. If you're going to grow in your faith, it's going to require you to do something with your hope, with action, and in community. So I want you to consider right now, which of these three areas do you need to grow in most during this season? Which of these three areas, when you think about your faith, this is the area that if I just leaned into this, I think my faith would grow the most. That's what I want you to focus on tonight. That's what I want you to focus on this week. And that's what, as you get ready to go to small group, I want you to talk to your small group about. Look, small groups are a great place to have these conversations, but small groups are even a better place to build community, not just of people that talk, but of friends that help you take next steps with God. So will you really engage in your online groups this week? Will you engage in those friendships? Students, I want you to grow in your faith. I love you. Stay healthy. Stay safe.
Spirit
Well, thank you so much for joining us for 242 Students Online. I hope you're glad you came. I'm glad you came. Don't forget to fill out that next steps card so we can plug you into a small group. And if you are already in a small group, but you've kind of been drifting, you know, in this Corona situation, I want to pull you back in. Your people miss you. Plug into small group now. That's what we're doing right now. And invite a couple of friends to join us for 242 Students Online next week. Take care, guys. Stay safe. Love you.